They say the eyes never hide the truth, and when a man begins to fall in love, this truth becomes impossible for him to cover up. Long before he speaks about his feelings, before he even admits anything to himself, his eyes start telling the whole story. In their depth, you can notice the quiet shaking of a heart trying to stay steady while love slowly breaks down every wall he has built. If you really want to understand what he feels, don't focus on his words. Pay attention to what his eyes are trying so hard not to show. When words fail or when he tries to control his voice, the eyes speak in a way that cannot be practiced or planned. They show the unfiltered reality of the inner world, revealing what the mind tries to hide. When a man is falling in love but tries to bury it, his eyes reveal the emotions he works endlessly to control. Every glance becomes a soft confession. Every long look becomes an unspoken truth that his heart has already moved far beyond his understanding. He may attempt to appear calm, distant, or even uninterested. But the light in his eyes tells a completely different story. A story that rises not from the surface level of his mind, but from the deeper layers of his emotions, where instinct and true feeling live. The eyes expose what stays hidden beneath his mask, because they are connected directly to the heart's unprotected impulses. Unlike words, which he can edit and shape through logic, the eyes react instantly to emotion. When he looks at the woman he cares for, the pupils widen in a subtle way, the muscles around the eyes relax, and there is a small natural shine that appears without him trying. It's not something he chooses to show. It is the body letting the unconscious speak for him. He may look away quickly to regain control, but the truth has already slipped out, just for a moment. A man who hides his feelings often believes he can control every part of his expression, but he forgets that emotion will always find a way to escape. The eyes are one of those escape routes, and they communicate with a level of honesty the voice cannot match. When he is near the person he secretly loves, his gaze behaves differently. It stays a little too long, or it avoids meeting her eyes completely, as though the simple act of looking might reveal everything he is trying to guard. Both actions, staring too much or avoiding her entirely, come from the same emotional place. They reflect the battle inside him, the desire to connect versus the fear of opening himself. There is also a rhythm in the way he looks at her that reflects the rhythm of his feelings. At first, he may glance quickly, testing whether it's safe to let himself be seen. When he feels unnoticed, his eyes soften and linger, pulling him into a quiet closeness he may not be ready to face. But the moment he senses that she has noticed his gaze, he pulls back, looking away in a controlled movement that hides the confusion inside him. This back and forth, this dance between looking and retreating, becomes a silent display of love and fear, a message told only through the eyes. The human eye carries deep symbolism. It represents awareness, truth, and the ability to see not only the world outside, but also the emotional world within. When a man's heart begins to open in love, his way of seeing changes. He no longer views things in the usual way. His vision becomes warm and focused whenever it comes to the person who stirs his emotions. Even if he tries to act normal, there is a gentle respect in the way he looks at her, as though she is something meaningful that he does not fully understand yet. This sense of admiration cannot be faked because it rises naturally from the inner need to connect with beauty, meaning, and emotional honesty. Sometimes, the eyes show longing even when he is not looking directly at her. When he enters a crowded place, his eyes search for her without him thinking about it. Even when he tries to convince himself not to care, his gaze moves toward her naturally. If she speaks, he pays attention before he even realizes it. If she laughs, his eyes brighten on their own. Each moment becomes a small crack in the walls he built around himself. Through these cracks, his feelings escape. Even when everything around them is silent, the eyes speak the loudest. They hold softness, sensitivity, and a quiet expression of wanting to say something he is still afraid to say out loud. The man who hides his love may speak calmly, but his eyes tremble with honesty. They shift between holding back and letting go, between control and vulnerability, proving that no matter how much he tries to bury his emotions, the unconscious always finds a way to reveal them through the gaze. When a man starts falling in love, two strong forces begin to rise inside him: love and fear. Love pushes him toward openness, connection, and emotional closeness. Fear pulls him back, warning him about the risk of getting hurt. These two feelings do not cancel each other. Instead, they live together, creating a deep internal tension shown in his behavior, in his silence, and most clearly in his eyes. The same eyes that show tenderness can also show hesitation. Behind his calm appearance, a silent battle takes place. One part of him wants to express everything, while the other part holds back, afraid of the outcome. Love exposes a man's deepest insecurities because it requires him to show the hidden parts of himself. When he begins to care for someone, he realizes that he could lose control of his emotions, that his heart might be hurt, and that the walls he built for years could collapse. Many men see this loss of control as weakness. Society teaches them that strength means staying contained, that emotions must be controlled, not felt. So when love arrives, it challenges that belief. Fear rises not because he dislikes the feeling, but because it feels too strong to manage. His eyes reveal this struggle. Soft one moment, guarded the next, moving between wanting closeness and wanting protection. In the quiet seconds when he looks at the person he loves, fear reminds him of rejection. It brings back past experiences when affection wasn't returned or when opening up caused pain. Even if the woman in front of him shows warmth and acceptance, the unconscious holds on to old wounds. The fear is not always logical. It comes from emotional patterns formed long ago. The eyes reflect these memories. They pause as if unsure whether they are allowed to show tenderness. They shift between warmth and withdrawal, carrying all the unspoken doubts inside him. Love, however, is persistent. It does not wait for permission. It simply grows. It softens his tone, changes his breathing, and brings light into his eyes. He may try to hide his emotions behind logic or control, but love is not something the mind can fully manage. When he looks at her, fear loses its power for a moment. A gentle brightness passes through his eyes, a warmth that cannot be forced or hidden. But as soon as he notices himself feeling too much, fear returns, reminding him of what could go wrong if he lets himself be seen too clearly. This constant rise and fall between showing and hiding creates the emotional tension of early, unspoken love. His eyes become the place where this battle is most clear. When he laughs, they shine with real affection. But when silence comes, they pull back into caution. If she looks directly into his eyes, he may look away. Not because he feels nothing, but because the emotion is too intense for him to face directly. The fear of opening up can be stronger than the desire to connect, and so he hides behind jokes, casual conversations, or a controlled attitude. Yet no amount of effort can erase what the eyes reveal. They remain the most honest part of him, exposing feelings he is not ready to voice. The moment he forgets to guard himself even for a single second, the truth rises to the surface. A soft, unplanned expression appears, the look of someone who has already fallen far deeper than he ever intended. The strange thing about love and fear is that they come from the same place. Both are born from the human need to connect. Fear shows up only because love carries so much importance. A man who hides what he feels does it because the emotion touches something delicate and meaningful inside him. His hesitation is not a sign that he doesn't care. It is actually proof of how deeply he does. His quietness, his careful behavior, even his distance are all pieces of the same emotional storm that love has awakened within him. And the eyes are where this storm becomes visible. In them, affection mixes with worry, honesty blends with insecurity, and the soul admits silently what his lips still refuse to say. When a man is falling in love but tries to hold everything inside, his eyes become the place where his hidden emotions act out their truth. Words can be shaped, gestures can be planned, but the small, quick expressions in his eyes speak with a kind of honesty he cannot control. These tiny signals, brief shifts in movement, small changes in the pupils, the quick spark of admiration, show what his mind is trying hard to keep hidden. Love does not begin with loud statements. It first shows up in the smallest moments of attention. When he looks at the woman who has touched his heart, his gaze stays a little longer than it should. And the moment he remembers to pull back, the gaze disappears just as quickly. This pattern of searching and pulling away is not something he plans. It is simply emotion trying to make sense of logic. Microexpressions are the body's hidden language. They appear faster than thought, lasting less than a second, yet they reveal entire worlds of feeling. A man may try to hold his face in a calm, neutral expression, but in short moments of surprise, longing, or quiet happiness, his eyes reveal him. When he talks to her, his pupils may widen slightly, not because of the light, but because the emotional part of the brain reacts to her presence. His eyes may soften or shine briefly with warmth that reason cannot hide. And when she returns his gaze, he might quickly look away, not because he wants distance, but because he feels exposed. In that quick turn of the eyes, the truth has already been shown. Attraction has moved from thought into pure feeling. A man who is hiding his love often tries to over-control himself. He may believe that discipline can cover up desire. But emotions always find a way to escape, and because the eyes are deeply linked to the brain's emotional system, they respond instantly when he feels something strong. When he hears her voice, there might be a slight brightness in his eyes, a quiet alertness that shows how much attention he's giving her. When she laughs, the corners of his eyes may tighten with real amusement, not because he planned to smile, but because the feeling rose naturally. He may try not to smile too often, or may try to appear unaffected, but these tiny expressions, too quick to fake, reveal him. Sometimes it is not the direct look, but what happens afterward that speaks even louder. After their eyes meet, he may glance away and take a slow breath, as if trying to steady himself. This reaction shows emotional overload, a natural way the body tries to find balance after a moment of intense feeling. After his eyes reveal too much, they retreat into stillness. He may act distant, but his attention stays drawn to her unconsciously. His eyes follow her movements across the room, even when he pretends not to look. This silent watching is common when a man's love is restrained. It is the heart paying attention through the eyes while the mind stays quiet. Every emotion has its own visual sign. Love softens the gaze, longing extends it, and fear interrupts it. When all three mix, like they do when someone is hiding their love, the result is a gaze that shifts between tenderness and self-protection. He might watch her reflection in a window instead of looking directly at her. He might use humor to distract from what he feels, or he might let himself look at her just long enough to feel connected before pulling away again. These tiny expressions, though easy to miss, hold the core of his emotional truth. They show the battle between the desire to open up and the need to stay safe. Even in conversation, the timing of his eye contact reveals more than he intends. When she talks, he may look at her with full focus, his eyes steady and engaged. But when he starts speaking, his gaze may shift slightly, as if searching for the right words that won't reveal the depth of his feelings. Every pause, every brief glance away, every return of the eyes mirrors the delicate dance of hidden affection. Though he may think he is hiding his emotions well, his eyes continue to translate what his heart whispers behind the scenes. In these small moments, the truth appears too quickly for the mind to block, leaving traces of love in every tiny expression he cannot control. When a man is falling in love but tries to hide it, his eyes become instruments of both expression and discovery. They don't just look, they reach out. They search for something deeper than physical beauty. They search for understanding, for connection, for a kind of recognition that touches the soul. Love is never only about the other person. It is also about what the other person awakens in the hidden places of the heart. When he looks at her, he does not only see her features, he sees parts of himself reflected back, his own unspoken desires, his quiet emotions, his forgotten softness. This is the subtle process of psychological projection, the way the unconscious recognizes in another person what it has long wanted to see within itself. The eyes play a powerful role in this invisible exchange. When he looks at her, it is as though he is trying to understand not only her expression, but also the truth rising inside him. The focus of his gaze reveals something deeper than attraction. It reveals recognition. He begins to see in her qualities that match his inner world: kindness, strength, gentleness, or even vulnerability. This recognition draws him in before he fully understands why. This is why love can feel destined, as if the other person carries something essential to his emotional life. Because the eyes connect emotion and awareness so directly, they become the path through which this recognition happens. When he tries to hide his feelings, he may avoid eye contact or act casual, but his eyes often reveal a desire for understanding that he cannot speak about. They linger even when he tries to pull them away. His gaze seeks reassurance, a sign of safety, or simply a hint that his feelings might be shared. This quiet searching is not about control, it is about connection. The eyes show his wish to be seen, not as the man he appears to be, but as the man he truly is behind all the layers. Every man who falls in love experiences a moment when the version of himself he hides and the version he shows begin to come together under the light of someone else's presence. In that moment of projection, the beloved becomes both real and symbolic. She is herself, yet she also reflects something he has long been missing. His gaze becomes a way of understanding, a way of exploring. He notices her expressions, her movements, the tone of her voice, trying to discover why she feels so meaningful, so familiar. In truth, what she awakens is not just desire, but depth, his own emotional depth rising to the surface. Love, especially hidden love, works like a mirror. It sends the unconscious into the open, pushing him to face feelings he has avoided. The eyes, unable to lie, show this inner awakening through gentle looks, brief moments of vulnerability, and glances that last just a little too long. There is also a quiet longing that lives inside the gaze of a man who hides his feelings. His eyes may follow her without him realizing it, as if they are trying to gather something he believes he is missing. It is not always about desire in the physical sense. It is the longing for completeness. Love awakens in him a vision of unity, of who he is and who he hopes to become. And even though he may not admit this to himself, his eyes reveal everything he tries to deny. They hold the ache of recognition, the subtle tremble of a man who senses that someone has touched the deepest part of him. He may stay silent. He may not fully grasp what he feels, but his eyes speak on his behalf. They express admiration, yes, but also revelation, a discovery of something sacred, meaningful, and profoundly human within another person. This is why a single look from him can feel charged, almost spiritual. It is not just one person looking at another. It is two inner worlds briefly meeting, awakening, and reflecting one another. And no matter how carefully he hides it, his eyes reveal the slow blooming of his love. When a man starts falling in love but chooses to keep it hidden, his eyes quietly give him away. They become the compass pointing toward what he truly feels, guiding his attention even when he tries to appear detached. Love changes his perception. It shifts the little things he notices. Without effort, his gaze keeps drifting toward her, pulled by something invisible. In conversation, in silence, across a crowded space, his eyes search for her, trying to confirm she is still near. This simple instinct exposes everything the conscious mind tries to bury. He may tell himself he is in control, but his gaze betrays the truth. Every look he sends her carries an unspoken confession. The eyes are not just tools for seeing, they are containers for emotion. When love enters, they move differently. They engage with life instead of merely observing it. When she laughs, his eyes brighten before he even realizes why. When she walks into a room, his attention sharpens instantly, narrowing the world around him. Even if he tries to look away, emotion quietly redirects his gaze. His eyes behave like an emotional compass, always turning toward the source of his affection, revealing what his heart already knows but his mind refuses to accept. During conversation, his gaze takes on unusual depth. He begins to study the details, the way her face moves, the tone of her voice, the gestures she makes without thinking. There is a focused, silent listening in his eyes that speaks louder than words. He might look calm on the outside, but his eyes say otherwise. They linger with warmth, soften with meaning, then quickly pull away once he realizes he has revealed too much. That sudden withdrawal is fear, the instinct to cover what has already slipped through, but his eyes cannot lie. They fall into a pattern he cannot consciously control, watching, connecting, retreating, and then returning again. Even in moments when he seems distracted, the compass of his gaze remains active. If she walks away, his eyes follow her almost involuntarily. If she speaks to someone else, he glances over without thinking. His gaze acts like a subtle tether, quietly drawn toward her presence. This is not simple attraction. This is emotional attachment. His heart has chosen long before his mind has allowed itself to admit it. The eyes, being extensions of the emotional self, respond instinctively. Their movement reflects his longing, mapping out the silent landscape of his affection. There is a softness that appears when he lets his guard down. In those brief, unprotected seconds, his eyes surrender. Love slows the gaze, deepens it, and fills it with meaning. When he looks at her, he is not just seeing, he is experiencing, he is feeling, he is remembering. The gaze becomes a container for everything he cannot say aloud, forming a silent exchange between two souls that words would only cheapen. When a man hides his love, his eyes become both his betrayer and his guide. They pull him toward what he wants most, even as he tries to maintain distance. They reveal the truth through every small glance, through the way they stay, the way they dart away, the way they return without fail. His gaze becomes the needle of his inner compass, always pointing to the person who has awakened something real within him. No matter how carefully he tries to appear composed, his eyes keep moving toward the place where his heart feels understood. When a man falls in love but chooses to suppress it, the act of hiding only intensifies his emotions. The more he pushes them down, the more strongly they grow beneath the surface. His eyes begin to carry the weight of everything he refuses to speak. Hidden love does not fade. It grows in silence, building pressure between what he feels and what he allows to show. This pressure turns his gaze into a quiet current of energy where every look carries a meaning he cannot voice. His eyes become the outlet for a heart he keeps locked away. Love does not disappear when suppressed. It turns inward. It becomes a quiet flame burning behind his calm expression. He may convince himself that he is steady and in control, but the unconscious does not obey. The eyes, being the most honest window into emotion, cannot be trained into stillness. When he looks at her, there is hesitation mixed with longing, a softness covered by self-discipline. He may turn away quickly, but the moment has already revealed the truth. Suppression sharpens sensitivity. He becomes more aware of her presence, more attuned to her voice, more affected by her nearness. The conflict between feeling and hiding becomes visible in his gaze, as though his eyes carry the pulse of something alive inside him. Hidden love shows itself not through dramatic actions, but through small contradictions. He might act indifferent, but his eyes search for her. He might speak casually, but his gaze lingers when he thinks she won't notice. These mixed signals create an air of mystery around him, an energy others sense even if they cannot explain it. His eyes, heavy with unsaid emotion, reveal the two forces pulling at him, the desire to draw near and the fear of being seen too clearly. The more he tries to contain what he feels, the stronger his expressions become. Every look becomes a silent argument between his heart and his mind, between the urge to give in and the instinct to stay guarded. Hidden love also brings a special kind of vulnerability. When he avoids showing affection, it is not from lack of feeling, it is from feeling too intensely, the fear of being hurt, the fear of losing control, the fear of breaking his image. All of these fears form the wall that keeps his emotions locked inside. But that very restraint makes his love grow deeper, because everything denied expression grows more powerful within him. There is a certain honesty in a man's eyes that he cannot hide, no matter how hard he tries to control his feelings. His eyes begin to reveal everything his voice refuses to say. They show the quiet ache of wanting someone he is afraid to reach for. They show the softness he tries to keep hidden and the tension he carries in silence. Even when his expression appears calm, there is a subtle tremble underneath, the kind that comes from a man fighting with his own heart. His gaze becomes the place where this struggle lives, a silent window into emotions he keeps locked away. With time, this hidden emotion creates a kind of pull between him and the woman he cares for. She may notice his attention before he ever admits anything out loud. She may sense the way his gaze brushes over her even when he tries to look elsewhere. Sometimes love speaks through presence alone, through the electricity that passes between two people without a single word being exchanged. He might think he is hiding his feelings well, but his eyes carry a quiet energy that cannot be disguised. They hold the truth of every emotion he has tried to bury. There is a delicate beauty in hidden love. It is both strong and fragile at the same time, like a flame kept behind glass. The fire is real, but it is protected, restrained, unable to fully rise. His eyes become the space where this flame flickers, where longing and caution meet. They show the conflict between what he feels and what he allows himself to reveal. No matter how carefully he masks his emotions, love always finds a small opening. It slips through his stare, through the softness that appears for a second, before he forces himself to look away. His eyes become the quiet messenger of everything he cannot bring himself to say. In their depth is the tenderness he wishes he could express, and also the pain of holding himself back. They reflect the heaviness of wanting someone while fearing the consequences of being honest. They carry the truth that love, once awakened, can be pushed down but not erased. It lives in the space between silence and hope, growing even when it is denied expression. When a man begins to fall in love but chooses to hide it, his eyes become the truest map of his inner world. They show every emotion he tries to manage, every fear he tries to outrun. In every small glance he gives her, there is a language deeper than words, a gentle confession shaped by silence. His effort to hide what he feels only makes those feelings more intense. Love that is suppressed does not disappear. It becomes more concentrated, more powerful, more alive inside him. His gaze becomes the bridge between the part of him that wants to stay safe and the part of him that wants to surrender. It reveals the truth his heart whispers when his mind tells him to stay quiet. Even when he convinces himself that he is in control, his eyes give him away. They follow her with a softness he cannot fake, a sincerity that is impossible to imitate, a depth that no spoken explanation could match. In the end, no matter how skillfully he hides his emotions, his eyes remain loyal to what he truly feels. They keep returning to her, drawn by something deeper than intention or choice. They show the simple, undeniable truth that love always finds a way to be seen, even when it is never spoken. And for him, that truth begins and continues in the eyes.